Welcome, welcome everyone.
Hello, hi Gulliver. Nice to see your face. Hi Shuna. Hey.
Hi Sam. Hi
Oh, Abby.
Abigail.
Hi Abby. Nice to see you. Long time no see.
Hi
Who else we got?
Alistair. Hi Eloise.
Hi Eloise, Chelsea, Marion.
And Alistair, welcome. And I'm sure there'll be a few people dropping in later, and lots of people have signed up that will be watching the recording. So, welcome to all of you that are watching the recording as well. Yeah, thank you. If you'd like to put your name and where you're calling in from and something you're feeling grateful for in the chat, it's always nice to hear that.
Mm.
Great. So, yeah, welcome to this workshop. I'm outside in the sunshine now. We've got no internet at home, so I've come outside, and I'm currently outside the swimming pool in Ludlow, which is slightly random, but I'll go for a swim afterwards. And yeah, so I'm here, and I'm, yeah, feeling very grateful for the sunshine and very grateful for the technology that connects us all. How about you, Leona? And,
Mm.
and I'm in sorry, I'm in Herefordshire is where I am. Actually, I think I've crossed over the border into Shropshire, but usually I'm in Herefordshire.
Well, it looks lovely and sunny where you are, and it has been a beautiful day here where I am. Hi everyone, I'm Leona. I am currently in Mytholmroyd near Hebden Bridge in West Yorkshire, and yeah, I'm super grateful for a a very lovely weekend, family weekend with my brother and his family and my kids, and then today just such a beautiful walk through the Bluebell Woods. When with that dappled sunlight that comes through in the morning, and the smell of the bluebells and the blue skies, and yeah, just the feel of the freshness of this time of year. So. That definitely set me up and resourced me for today. And just looking at other people's gratitudes. It's lovely to see so many of you here, old faces and new.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, it's great. We've got people from close by and people all the way from Canada and France. So, yeah, lovely global group as well. It's beautiful.
Mm.
Lovely. So, yeah, so our intention for the workshop is to uh, explore peace, empowerment, and cultural emergence and how they can support us in our day to day lives and to create a peaceful culture that ripples out. And to have the sort of sense of us sitting around a virtual fire, and yeah, we'll be sharing about the in-person cultural emergence peace course as well in this workshop, and opportunity to ask questions about that if you wish to.
Mm. Uh,
Yeah.
So I thought since we have a virtual campfire that I would actually bring the element of fire with me and light a little candle to open our connected and sacred space today. Even though we are far apart, we are all here in around this virtual campfire, which is just amazing. It does blow my mind all the time that we can do this. So welcoming fire, this beautiful and powerful element of transformation and connection around which people throughout cultures all around the world, throughout time, have sat in times of need, in times of challenge, in times of togetherness, in times of celebration. This tiny, tiny little flame here that is as strong and powerful as the biggest fires and has that energy of drawing us in around the hearth and the heart.
Thank you.
invites stories and invites connection and invites a sense of change. It can change that whatever is solid into gas, just like this. And and it feels really, yeah, really, really beautiful to start with gratitude for fire. We always start everything with gratitude and gratitude being the beginning and end of all meaningful connection can really help us connect in and this year in our peace process, we're really connecting to the element of fire because we're inviting in and giving people the opportunity to do a fire quest. So it's also particularly poignant today, and particularly with the sun shining and the greater weather that we've been having in well, around where I am at least. So I'm just going to invite you all to just connect to the elements, and connect to the power of transformation that comes through fire and the warmth and the electricity and the light, and how amazing it is to have that in our lives. And also inviting you to connect to whatever is solid beneath you right now. You might be upon floorboards or you might be upon concrete, but beneath that and beneath whatever's beneath that, there is the earth, this solid earth that's always there, the solidity of that from which everything comes, everything that sustains us and gives us life. Yeah. And just feeling that deep breath there that I took and connecting to the element of air, how that very breath may have been breathed by one of your ancestors in times gone by. And this very breath may have been breathed by, who knows, someone in Tibet only weeks ago. This element of air which moves through everything and connects us to everything always. Really feeling grateful for the power of breath. And knowing that in some cultures in the Lakota language, they don't really have a word for air. The word that they use is breath. In the West, we have such a privilege of being able to turn on the tap and have clean, clean water to drink, and all that that gives us in terms of ease and flow, and relating to the waters as that power of moving emotion and moving energy and the tears that flow through us in times of struggle, the tears that flow through us when we really connect to what we grieve, what we know is being lost in the world, what we know is going on in different parts of the world. Just really connecting to that energy of flow and water and that sacred element that is sometimes faceless as it moves in all its forms and its clearness. And all of the elements together making up everything that we know, everything that exists. From the sun, the moon, the stars, the sky, all those that fly above us, all of the winged ones, from great eagles to tiny little invisible ones, and all those that walk and move upon the earth, those that have got two legs like us, and those that have got many legs or no legs at all that move around, and thinking about those that move within the waters and upon the waters and to the very depths of the waters and all the mystery that is beneath there. And I'm just thinking, seeing behind me all these plant beings, these the trees and the flowers and the roots and yeah, everything that is in this life coming from the earth. So such a beautiful thing to remember as we step into a connected space with each other. So with all of those things and all of the things and reasons and circumstances that have enabled you to be here and join us. I'm sending out gratitude to you and to all of that, so that we can be in this space together with one heart. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for joining me with that.
That's so beautiful, Leona. Really beautiful to be reminded of those elements that are within us and our own nature body, that our body is not something separate from nature, it is nature. And the more that we can connect with our own body, the more we can connect with all the elements and with all of life around us. So yeah, just taking a few deep breaths and feeling into our own nature, the water in our blood, the earth in our bones, the fire in our belly, the air in our lungs, and just feeling your body, feeling your nervous system settle into being present. I have a poem. Molecules. The breath in my lungs travels on the wind, in and out of person, bird and animal, in and out. One breath travelling through all, I give and I receive. The molecules in my fingertips have lived before, inside the tusk of a mammoth. My hair was once a rock on the ocean floor, my heart a distant star. The water flowing through my veins was once the blood of ice age rivers melting into the sea. Molecules assembling and disassembling in the cycle of life, death and renewal. I eat the soil from crumbling mountains and sunlight caught in the juice of a berry, the same sunlight that floods my skin, nourishing my cells, warming the fire in my belly. Thank you, everyone. That was one of my poems from Strands of Infinity. So, yeah, welcome. It's always nice to do gratitude and to come into our bodies as part of our peacemaking for our own lives, as well as part of the ways in which we can connect to each other. So, yeah, we thought we'd move into sharing, introducing ourselves, myself and Leona, that are holding this call and holding the peace course in June. And we thought we'd introduce each other rather than introducing ourselves. So I've known Leona since 2017, when we were first at the Art of Mentoring camp together. And but then really it was 2020, 21 when we really got connected, when Leona came to Applewood, and we had so much fun around the fire that I was just like, oh, I think we could do fun together on the peace course. And I know that she's done lots of training with the Help Us Mentoring Society, and I really feel like I made the right decision there, because it's been so wonderful having Leona come yearly now. I think this is our 4th year, and the space that Leona holds is really beautiful. It's like really magical, sacred, ceremonial space, even like right for all edges. It's not just the ceremonial parts, the ritual parts that Leona holds that sacred space for. Is like is in her whole being. And yeah, and just the fun and lightness that matches the deep ceremonial sacred space, just really like the full spectrum being. So yeah, so that's why we keep on going back to it and doing more of it. Yeah, so that's, I know that you've had a life, Leona, before doing social work, and you also run the Connection Matters podcast. Yeah, but the Peace Cause is where I most know you from and connect with. So that was my sharing. But yeah,
Oh, thank you. It's really lovely to hear. Yeah, to allow in the celebration of me. So thank you. And that's something that I've learned to do more and more, particularly through sharing the language of cultural emergence and the principles. And so yes, I will introduce Looby. Looby, what came to my attention back in about 2011, whenever the book People and Permaculture came into being. And when that book came out, it just answered my questions. I was so really interested in permaculture, how to create permanent culture, but all the information about permaculture that was out there was based around gardens and and yeah, it wasn't about people. And for me, having been a social worker, life coach, ecotherapist, I was really interested in connection with people. How do we help people to live in more connected ways? How do we create systems and help each other understand each other and learn to understand ourselves deeply? And Luby's book was like my Bible for a few years. I used to run workshops just based on it, and so when we met in person at the Art of Mentoring camp, which is the Eight Shields training camp for how to create spaces that create the optimum conditions for connection. It was really great and exciting. And then when we got to meet again at Applewood and really get to know, I guess, each other's passions and edges around the fire, when you have those deep conversations, it was there that I felt really excited and inspired by cultural emergence in action. And Luby's written the book Cultural Emergence, which is a toolkit for designing and creating lives that are more healthy and abundant than what we get told or led to believe is possible. And it also gives a language for creating alternative ways of being, right from the very core of who we are into how we operate in the world and who we operate with and how we support those spaces. So it was really great to feel that in person with Looby and actually know that, Looby is a real person. She's someone who's channeled this amazing work, but is just someone who, like all of us, longs for a different way of being and has managed to bring together all of this information in a really beautiful, concise, and succinct way, so that we can all bring it into our lives. So, yeah, it's a real honour to work with you, Looby, and I really appreciate what you said about me. I've really enjoyed the way that we co-facilitate together because we're both we plan and then we flow, let's say. And that's brilliant because we really know what is needed to create the optimum conditions for connection, but then we really can feel into the group and what is needed. And like you say, we've got that beautiful combination of depth and lightness, so that the experience is emergent and creates yeah, good connection. So thank you. And thank you everyone for listening. This was a bit of an experiment to share about each other. And I'm sure that there's so many other things. I know Looby's also created these cards that are really amazing toolkits for bringing into your life and groups and work and everything that you do. And then I also know you're about to release a new book, which is exciting as well. And I can't wait to read that whenever it comes out, Looby.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'd love to hear, if you want to put in the chat, we'd love to hear where where you heard about it. So we've shared like where we first came to meet each other or meet people in permaculture, cultural emergence, or how did you land here in this space now? We'd love to hear in the chat there. And yeah, thanks, Shauna, for saying it's a lovely way to introduce each other. Yeah. So when you mentioned my new book, which is Design Adventures, an advanced copy here, which it's got a story from Leona in here about weaving the community fire and about the fire quest, which you did a design for, and that happened. So it felt right that this year we would bring the fire quest energy into the peace course. And I've just finished a volunteer weekend where we've just not built the new woodshed, but we've already stocked it with wood, ready for the fire quest. So yeah, we've said the words fire quest a few times now, and I think maybe we've also said cultural emergence as well, which will kind of unpick a little bit as well. But maybe you could share fire quest, what it is, or maybe should we go to cultural emergence first, and then we'll come back to fire quest. Then we'll sort of have yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. Thank you for people putting in the chat there what you've done and how you've heard about it. It's brilliant. Yeah, we were together on Amanda Scott's podcast, which was lots of fun to connect with her as well. So let's share a bit about cultural emergence. So as you will have heard, my background is in permaculture, and I did write the first book, People and Permaculture, which was the first book in the world to really translate permaculture into people-based systems. So that I was really excited about that, and I think I've got a copy of my book here. Sit around with books around me, People and Permaculture, and then I thought that would kind of completely dispel the myth of permaculture is about gardening, and suddenly everyone would want to know about permaculture. But it hasn't quite managed that. People still think permaculture equals gardening, and I realised then back in like 2015, I think we did a social permaculture course, and I was like, I think we need to rebrand this. Like, all these tools are amazing, but with permaculture, it's still confining it, and permanent culture is maybe what's the word, tautology or I'm not sure which, but it's not permanent. It's like defining culture is something that is ongoing. So I had this question in the back of my mind of like, kind of need to hear. It kind of needs a bit of a rebranding, and then a friend, Ruth Corrie, who was working with John Young at the time, and she was reading People and Permaculture, and she did her permaculture diploma, and so used the design web, the design framework that we've been mentioning here, and that I created while writing People and Permaculture. And she was just like, she actually had a vision under the linden tree that she should get the two of us to collaborate, that I had tools that would be useful for John Young, and that John had useful tools for me, well, not just for me, but the whole of the permaculture movement. So she got us to collaborate, and we agreed to run a course together, which originally we just called Emergence because we weren't sure what was going to happen. And then we said, okay, actually, it's cultural emergence, because that's the kind of overlap of our work. He was looking very much at cultural repair, and I was looking at cultural shifts, and so we collaborated, but we decided to go outside, not just kind of me do my thing, him do his thing, but like actually let's explore what could grow out, what could it literally emerge out of this collaboration, this like combination, this 1+1=3, but actually 1+1=, permaculture and people in permaculture and HCLs together emerges cultural emergence. So out of that, and lots of courses together, lots of conversations, lots of hard, well, I was going to say hard work, but it is hard work writing a book. So then my book, Cultural Emergence, came along in 2020. Didn't just come along, I did write it and spend lots of hours in front of the computer and as well as outside thinking about it all. And we we had a vision. So let me share my vision there. So our cultural emergence vision is to accelerate global cultural transformation towards a peaceful, connected world, to bring people and planet into alignment for a positive, regenerative future. And I feel like that's a vision that is shared by so many people. But what is significant when we share a vision or we have a vision is to work out what our mission is. So what is the thing that we can do now that brings us closer to that vision? So our mission, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, actually, so hopefully, because there's two missions there. So our cultural emergence mission is to create a profoundly effective toolkit to challenge and awaken, move and invigorate, nourish and empower individuals, groups and communities to bring us into a state of fertile cultural emergence. So that was our original mission. And then it's like, well, actually, I feel like we've done that. We've got the book, we've got the CEED deck that Leona was showing earlier that we will use in a little bit, and so we've got a kind of a second mission that's happening at the moment, which is to empower people to use the toolkit and to create networks and communities of practice of people using cultural emergence. So this is what we're doing now, is trying to, or starting the process of connecting people up that using that. And so we've got an ongoing like membership called the Collective, where we're gathering people together that have done some of the courses. So that's the toolkit, and I wanted to share in the mission we had. You will have seen the phrases challenge and awaken, move and invigorate, and nourish and empower. And these are the three phases of cultural emergence that we need for change. That if we have a balance of these three phases, then we have really effective change. If we have too much challenge and awaken, we end up in overwhelm. Too much move and invigorate, and we end up in burnout. Too much nourish and empower, well, we're probably also depleted with the nourish and empower, that it takes a lot to get there, but we could become quite self-centered if that was all we were focused on. But actually, when I ask people generally in our society, it's either that we've got too much challenge and awaken or too much move and invigorate, and we're quite depleted with the nourish and empowerment. And this is where the peace course comes in, and I've got the learning pathways design. This is what this mandala is. It's the 3 courses that show the three different parts of the toolkit. So we've got the ACE course, Activating Cultural Emergence, which I've got online, and I'm also got in person. If anyone's free the coming weekend and want to jump in, I've got some places there if you want to come to Applewood this weekend. And then the Design Adventures, which used to be called the CEED course, but because of my new book has been upgraded. And then this is the peace, empowerment and cultural emergence experience. I would say it's a course because we give you tools, but actually it's a whole experience, a whole gathering. It's like a summer holiday. It's all of those things wrapped into one. This is where we really use the tools like we've already been using in this call here of grounding, of coming into our bodies, of nature connection, of gratitude, of surfacing our gifts by being in a very held container, a very sacred container. And sacred not meaning religious, but meaning that we're valuing ourselves, we're valuing life, we're valuing our connections, the community that we're building together. So that's that's the starting point there. So maybe Leona, you want to come in with the fire quest at this point?
Yeah. So I think one of the things first to name is that if we had all the pieces and parts within our culture that we needed to be healthy and whole human beings, to be healthy and whole communities, then we would be doing it. But a lot of the things that enable us to step into a more connected version of ourselves with an understanding of what we're here to do have been lost because our culture tells us that the priority is earning money, and the priority is acquiring stuff that actually doesn't connect us, but it's a drive that I think disconnects us so much that we've forgotten who we really are. So one of the things that was my passion was exploring what are the cultural elements that enable us to come more fully into the human animal self that we truly are. What are the conditions? What are the cultural routines that bring about the culture repair that we so desperately need? And one of those things in my training and in the journey that I've been on is life stage honoring, is exploring, what it means to move from a child to a teenager, what it means to move from a teenager to become a young woman or a young man, or young person. What does it mean to be an adult? What does it mean to be a mother or a father or an elder? And in many cultures around the world, they have events. You might call them ceremonies, rituals, but they're essentially a coming together of people and community to honor and celebrate those transitions. Also, when people die or big things happen, when things move and change, it's a way of having processes in place that allow us to take that moment and step out of of time, out of our everyday life and busyness of all the things that we have to do, especially these days. And they're not all bad, of course. It's, if you're someone like me, we're juggling all the time to try and create a connected life, be a good parent, run your own business, or learn and keep learning or growing, or be a good partner, friend, community member, whatever it is. But it's a taking yourself out of that and really dropping into that open sensory awareness that enable us to first heal some of the gunk that we build up through our daily lives, this all that we take in through watching the news and the media and the the disconnect, and then to open to something other than our own thoughts and our own stories. So you can do this in many ways. But one of the ways that I've found to be so beautiful because of its simplicity, because of its lack of dogma or too much um, predefined terms, is literally sitting with the fire and sitting alone with the fire from sunset to sunrise. So it's like we're keeping a cycle of light for the full 24 hours. And we are, we could do that on our own, and people do all the time, but there's something very special about being in a community of people who are all there with the same aim of finding deeper connection to self, deeper connection to the other than human world, and in this case, particularly with the fire, which starts to feel like a grandfather, or that sort of strong holding energy whenever you spend time alone for that amount of time, and it brings a deep sense of wisdom and communication and connection whenever you spend like you're with another being, and and then connection to something much greater, something something something, the great mystery, let's say, because who knows, there's so many different ways of describing and naming that bigger sense. But when you do that in a group of people who are all doing that, it's a really beautiful experience, because you get to not only be witnessed and held by all the others who are doing their thing, but separately, there's something really amazing about knowing that there's all these little fires dotted around the land that you're on. And sometimes you can see them in the distance or see them nearby, close enough to catch the light in the middle of the night. But also to 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 be witnessed and to witness and to be held by the ceremony, by the sacred container that you're creating together, to be held and supported, so that you know that there is a start and there is an end. It's not like you're opening something that's going to continue forever, or all ceremony has a start and an end. And so this is a very simple process that has been done through time in all cultures around the world, taking time with fire to process, to let go, to release, to ask for transformation, to drop into a space of quiet contemplation. It's different for everyone what comes out. Some people have beautiful visions and songs come through, and some people just have a quiet night, just watching and being in the stillness. And somehow it strengthens those ropes of connection that then hold us in the rest of our lives. When we go on back into our communities, back to our families, back to our jobs, we have that something to draw on, something to resource us, something to help us to live more aligned to our values and to our vision of what life should and could be. And that's why I love the vision, the Fire Quest so much, and why we thought we would bring it this year. In the past, we've done something called a nature quest, so that's a similar experience but without the fire. We've also done an ancestors fire through the night. Last time we did it, where everybody sat round together around one fire, sharing stories about ancestors and really, what I'd like to get you to feel from this call is that there isn't a right way. There isn't something that that is like the golden bullet. It's not a good metaphor, is it? That's going to fix everything. It's about going to places, being with people, exploring ideas that give us a toolkit and a bank of experiences that enable us then to come into connected self-leadership and something that I call everyday spirituality. So that nobody is telling us what to think or do or be, but that we have that deeper connection within us that enables us to know what we need to do when times are challenging. Usually for me now, it's automatic for me to go out and wander in the hills and be, and or to go to my sit spot, or to sit with the fire, or to go and cleanse myself by throw myself into the lake. It's it for me now. It's become my habitual pattern because I've had the support of this community and of these processes that have built that resilience and those resources so that it isn't no longer something I go away to do on a transformational leadership course, but it's something that's within my life on a daily basis that enables me to model that for my children, for the people that I work with, for the people that I coach, and all of those things. And that's what we're hoping and hope to bring an understanding of that. The course, this call is called Peace, Empowerment, and Cultural Emergence. It isn't about giving anything. It's about all of us taking responsibility to give ourselves those sacred experiences that then help us to step into a more connected version of ourselves. So yeah, that's my little input on the fire quest.
Yeah, well, you'll be giving a lot more. I know, so I'm really excited. I did a fire quest with Leona and Claudia and David, Smart Night down in Cornwall a few years ago, and it really was transformative then. And just, yeah, so I'm really excited to be bringing it to Applewood because I know you've been doing it up north, and I've not been able to join you because it's too far away, but to have it and have a whole week deep dive into it was going to be amazing.
Mm.
And there was there's Jenny who came last year who was she was going to join us in this call, but something came up. But she said she's just sent me an email with she said to share this for her. She said the course didn't only give me a better understanding of cultural emergence and eight shields, but also about myself. Gave me pause in which to reevaluate myself and my path. I got to know myself better. It was a real reset. I was nurtured by the land, the teachings, the fun that we shared, and the food that was made with such love. I left feeling so connected. I've recommended it so many times.
Mm.
So it's a lovely, yeah,
Mm.
yeah, lovely. Yeah, there's a question here in the chat from Andrea of it would be interesting in how it affects the people around you when you are living in a more connected version of yourself.
Great
Just,
question, Andrea. Yeah.
yeah, because this is it. This is we're doing it for ourselves and our own personal culture, but that personal culture ripples out into all the other cultures we're part of. It ripples out to our families, our friendships, our workplaces. It's what we bring to the table, and we might think that like what we're doing is too small to make a difference, but this is the idea of emergence. That if you think about a cake and the egg and the flour and the sugar and maybe there's chocolate in there and baking powder, and it's like this process, and you look at all these ingredients and you would never guess if you were an alien coming in and you're like, yeah, all of that makes this amazing cake, and you would never guess that it's an emergent process. But actually it's the baking powder, the smallest thing, that actually makes the difference. In it literally makes the cake rise. So when we think that we're too small to make a difference, think maybe you are the baking powder. You are the magic ingredient that might be small, but it makes a big difference. And so our personal cultures ripple out, and this is the idea. One of the key ideas around the cultural emergence toolkit is that when we pay attention to our personal culture, when we make conscious choices, when we when we become aware of the cultural conditioning that we've had, and aware that we can be proactive in the choices and the values and the belief systems and the behaviors and the patterns of thinking and being, then we can make designs for ourselves and be proactive in what we choose to, how we choose to be in the world, how we choose to show up. It takes time, it takes cultural unraveling, lots of layers of cultural conditioning, but that ripples out and affects everyone that we're come into contact with. So yeah, it's really yeah. And
One of the
Sam's just sharing, when we are truly in our gift, in our most authentic, most connected self, I think we are in alignment with what it is that we naturally offer to others and the planet. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Sam.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, Sam's been on Sam's been on the ACE course, the Activating Cultural Emergence course. And maybe you'll come on the Peace course.
One
Yeah,
of one of the one of the principles is I don't know if you can read that the right way around, but it's make connection first. So it says, ensure people are seen, heard, understood, able to contribute and are valued, support people's sense of belonging, continually prioritize nourishing interactions with others, stay connected, even if growing in different directions. And I really love this card because I used to work, and sometimes I do work with conflict, and in my coaching with limiting beliefs and with challenges, and part of one of the core messages is connection before correction. And if our premise is the world is not as it should be right now, we want it to be different, the first thing we need to do is make connection first. The first thing we need to do is be that version of ourselves, the one who takes the time, the one who explores a different language for communicating more authentically and with integrity in relation to the natural world, the one who takes time out on a regular basis, whether that's annually or monthly or how often it is for you that works for you, to do that deep connecting with the other than human world. Those, when we are being that version of ourselves, whether we go on then to explain to the people in our lives what we're doing or not, something changes in the way that we are. Something radiates more from us, so that people start asking, what is it that you're doing? What even is it? That's what I've noticed in my time. When I started doing sit spots, which was about when I did my eco psychology training about 10 years ago, I my ex-partner, the father of my kids, who hadn't had a tricky relationship with was just like, what are you doing? What is it that you're doing? And all I was doing at that time, all I could do, because I had small children, was doing my regular sit spot, really committing to it, really going out to the land and making sure that I prioritized that as a form of connection, and enabled even him to notice the change, never mind the others around me. And when my children said to me, when we were out on a walk one day, Mummy, 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 can we do a sit spot? I really thought that my job as a parent was done, If I could have if I'd modeled without ever trying to get them to do it, because I didn't want to be that person who was pushing on to anybody else what I thought was the right thing, but just being that. And they then really wanted to do a sit spot, which is so cute. My little boy went off on his own. My daughter would just snuggle into me and we'd sit quietly. And that's cultural emergence in action. And it's amazing how that ripples out. And it might seem small and insignificant, but really it that's just one of so many examples that I could show you and talk to you about, how the change in me has affected the change in others.
That's lovely. Yeah, there was a question in the chat about where is Applewood, and we're in Herefordshire. We're right on the border with Wales, between yeah, right at the top of Herefordshire, not quite in Shropshire. um, yeah, I wonder because you've brought the cards in, and
Mhm.
like we had an activity, like we've done a lot of talking, and we thought we'd do a little activity. We're experimenting with how we can use the cards online. So I have a card spread there, and the numbers might be a little bit too small for you to read, but if you want to drop into the chat or even unmute and say either a number or just a an image, and then we can see how that might apply to our peacemaking in our lives. So the cards, these principles are part of the toolkit. So if anyone wants to pick a card, number 16. Now I've realised the challenge is that I don't.
Presence in the process.
Okay, great. Let's see what's. Yeah, I've got that here. So, presence in the process, gain clarity about the process, observe what is actually happening right now, lose attachment to outcomes, and soar on life's thermals.
Mm.
I think particularly there's losing attachment to outcomes because often we are we want we're interacting because we want a certain thing to happen, whether that is with our family or our work. It's like, okay, we're attached to the outcome, and that's what makes or can make conflict when the outcome is different because of any number of factors, including the emergence and the people's own ideas. And when we have that attachment, and we're sort of like we're not here, we're somewhere else, we're in the future, and we're not being able to give the attention to what is actually happening right now. So
Mm.
that's yeah, that can bring. Sam says, yeah, I was drawn to the present, red kite presence in the process too. Always am, and I consciously try to ignore it for a different image, but apparently it can't be ignored. No, presence in the process is definitely, yeah, definitely a popular one, and so is it we're all we're quite culturally conditioned not to be present in the process, to be forward looking, thinking about the future or thinking about the past, and then when we're not present in our interactions, there's a disconnect. When I'm sitting here, like, so if I was sitting here and I'm thinking about my going swimming after the call or doing this or doing that, I wouldn't be present here, and you'd know it. You'd be like, yeah, yeah, Looby's just, I don't get that sense. So, yeah, presence in the process is a really really important one, and these principles can be used like anchors. So you can just like you can pick a principle, pick a card at the beginning of the day and have that principle in mind, and so as you're going through the day it's like, oh gosh, my mind was just wandering off. Come back, presence in the process. So bringing yourself back.
Mhm.
Do you want to do the next one, Leona?
Yep, Shuna's put number 10, which is be attentive to timing, which you've got a nice treble clef there and some yeah, some different shapes there, which for me, this one is really about it's very related to presence in the process. What it says is wait for the right moment, feel the music in your body, and create agreements around timing. So, and that can be with yourself, feel the music in your body, really know when what that feeling is when something feels good and right and ready, and really know what that feeling is whenever it doesn't feel right, whenever it doesn't feel like the right time, because we're very much in our heads. And I think that when we really learn to be attentive to timing, it comes from a felt place. It comes from a place within our body. It comes from something more than what what's going on your calendar. Sometimes that's what it is, but actually having a sense of noticing when something shows up, when it hasn't done for a long time, and all of a sudden it's just popped into your awareness, or the same thing comes in a few times, or there's lots of ways that this can show up. And I think the other thing is creating agreements around timing is really about integrity. It's about having and doing what you say you're going to do, and actually really knowing that you can trust yourself, and agreements around timing, with yourself are just as important as agreements with other people, because we are the ones that are taking action and are being the change that we want to see. And I would have always been resistant to that one in the past, but yeah, it's a good thought-provoking principle. What else have we got here?
I've
Number
got
four.
number four,
You've got
which
number.
is, and you could do number 30 after that.
Mhm.
I've got number four, which is weave unity. Weaving relies on repetition, rhythm, and pattern. Dynamic unity, make connections visible. So that weaving unity, that repetition, it's like continually bringing gratitude in. It's not just a one-off connection. Isn't just a one-off thing. It's like you have to create those practices in your life that then support you, and in your groups that support the group. So yeah, it's again, it's something that you do and that you bring in, and it's like, okay, the connections make the weave, and how do we make those connections with the more than human world? So how do we make the connections with the different parts of ourselves that then allow us to expand and grow and emerge and share our gifts? So yeah, weave unity. Do you want me to?
Mm. So I've got one of my favourite ones here, number 30, that Emma's put in, and I'm not sure if you can see that here yet. So it's allow for the possibility of the seemingly impossible. And oh, isn't that such so liberating? Because sometimes our view of what's possible, given the circumstances that we're surrounded by, can feel so limited. We can often feel trapped, or like things aren't going to change, or that it's not going to happen for us. But allowing for the possibility of the seemingly impossible just opens everything up. What it says here is give voice to your heart's desire, widen parameters of possibility, and stay engaged with searching for solutions. So, give voice to your heart's desire is one of the things I work with a lot. It's about creating vision. A lot of us just respond to life as it happens to us. We do what we're supposed to do. We get caught up in the busyness. We do it as well as we can, but we forget to really, really again, this is a process, a practice that we can do regularly, is just drop into that heart space and that space of possibility, and really imagine, if time and money were no object, what would I be doing in 5 years' time? And allowing ourselves to have that dream, and and drop into that sensory reality, the dream space, the place where we can start to manifest from. What does it smell like? Who would we be with? What gatherings would we be attending? Where would we be living? How would we be contributing to the world? Then we can start to bring that into being in tiny, tiny pieces. We'll see it when it comes to us, when an opportunity arises that we formerly would have ignored. And and so it really, playing with that and allowing ourselves to dream and to connect to our heart's desire, I think is really fun for a start, but it also is the process that we have to go through if we actually want to create something that is bigger than the small world that we sometimes inhabit. And staying engaged with searching for solutions is the it is the thing that I think we have to keep doing. It's that showing up at the table again and again and again. I think there's a song lyric around that about actually being the ones who keep showing up to to explore, to listen, and to imagine together what would life look like if it weren't the presentation that gets shown to us on the news every day, but what else is there? And really opening to the possibility of the seemingly impossible so that we can live with hope and healing.
Yeah, beautiful. I do feel that cultural emergence is very much about hope. I've just taken my microphone out. Hopefully, the sound's okay, and you can hear the bird songs. We've got house martins around me, or having their evening meal. So yeah, number 13 was Andrea's picked here, which is this one here, which is step into the unknown, expect the unexpected, take the first step, expand into new ways of being and knowing. So when we do this expansion, and it's when we are bringing peace into our own lives, with that peace, that empowerment, we are there is an expansion that is happening in our being, in our knowing. It is, and it's not going to happen. That expansion isn't going to happen if we just stay in our comfort zones. We stay with what we know. It's like, no, actually, let's expand. Let's take that first step. And we might not know what the second step is. We might not know what the third step is. And it very much links with the principle you've just had there of the allowing for the possibility of the seemingly impossible. And it's just like, just take that first step. And I think about this when, like, we were the woodshed is on my mind at the moment, but like, just when you're making something and it's like, oh, I don't know how that's going to happen, but if I just start, then then things will unfold, and we'll know what the next step is. So just starting, and that can be the same if you're working towards some peace restoration with people, like family members or whoever it is. It's just taking that first step and that willingness to try something out.
Mm.
We've got
So
yeah. Do you want to do the next one? 20.
yeah, so Chelsea said 24, which is make connection first, which we did speak to a little bit before. So I picked another one, um, and the one that came out was this one, which is emergence happens in relationship. And I I really love this one as well because, well, it says exchanges create life, literally, and identify patterns, cycles, and potentials of your interactions. Add fertility to the soil of your relationships. So, understanding that we are in relationship to all that there is. I know John Young describes it. What he learned from the Bushman, was about the threads of connection that we have to everything that exists, all the people in our lives, all the moments, past and present, all of the animals, the trees, and that these threads they get stronger if we be attentive to them, if we offer gratitude, if we acknowledge and remember them, and those threads become stronger. They become, if you keep offering gratitude, if you keep being attentive to those threads that surround you, all of the different relationships, then you soon have a web that is made of rope, that is strong and can catch you and hold you whenever you need it. And I always have this image of all the relationships that I have in my life, seen and unseen, that are the thing that enables me to live. And on a less grand or creative version, just being together with other people and going without agenda and without judgment and without story of what's possible can really bring, when you know the tools, when you have the tools to bring and create space for deep listening, that's when solutions come that can, be the solutions that meet everybody's needs, that can be the thing that is beyond what you could have imagined before coming together. And so creating opportunities, building the skills to be able to hold those spaces, and also being held in those spaces, gives us the opportunity to be part of emergent culture, part of something that is beyond what we can imagine right now, so that we can really yeah be in that state of possibility that we've already talked about, in allowing the possibility for the seemingly impossible. Mm.
Oh, lovely. So yeah, that's just a little taste of how the principles can be applied to peacemaking, to both keeping us in a state of peace and also bringing us back to a state of peace when we've lost it, because that happens, doesn't it? We get pushed out of our peaceful state by life, by other people, by the news. So it's like, how do we come back to that state of connection and hope and possibility and empowerment and engagement on a regular basis? Wonderful. So we thought we'd open up space for any questions now. If anyone had questions about the peace workshop or cultural emergence, or any reflections that or about what we've shared. Yeah, anything that anyone would like to share or ask at this point. So you can unmute, or it can go in the chat, whichever you feel. Any question there? Some comments there. I've started switching off the adverts between the TV programs to filter out unwanted inputs, but it's tricky. I mean, the adverts are that's definitely conditioning coming our way, cultural conditioning. So yeah, to be able to put that, it's definitely a way of reducing that cultural conditioning. Thank you, Andrea. And Abigail, thank you for a great session. I've got to head off, but I especially enjoyed the exploration of the principles. Wish I could join you both in June. I'm sure it will be really special. Yeah, maybe another time. Shauna, you had, yeah.
I know you did go over it at the beginning, but I'm often quite confused between the art of mentoring, the culture emergence, the 8 shields, the 10 directions. I think I've kind of come across one like that as well. And I get really confused with all the titles and names. And I know you explained it at the beginning, but
No, it's a great question, actually. I think there's definitely overlaps and connections between all of those things, which is maybe where the confusion comes from. So the eight shields is a model that was developed by John Young, and because of our collaboration, then it's woven into cultural emergence. So it's its own thing, and and yeah, it's woven in, and it's its own thing as well. And then the art of mentoring was a gathering that has happened around the world, and it's kind of up to 200 people, and it's based on the Eight Shields model. And then there's the 10 stones of connection, which is brings in which it brings in gratitude and yeah, welcoming, gratitude, and closing and things. So yeah, so they are all interwoven, which is maybe the where the confusion comes in. Sam's written, I'm desperate to join the Peace course and can't currently make the June date, so I'm going to allow for the possibility of the seemingly impossible. I hope that something changes, enabling me to join you. Okay, thank you, Sam. let's put that out there. see what happens. Yes, allow for that possibility. It would be really lovely to have you back at Applewood again. Thank you. Yeah, and yes, we will share the recording because we've covered a lot of ground, so it will be great to to be able to go back and hear that again.
I'm wondering about, since we're all sitting around a virtual campfire, whether we should have a little song.
I was thinking the same. Go for it.
So the song that has come to me is not a song, not one that we'd planned, but so if you haven't sung on Zoom before, it can be a bit strange, but basically you're all muted so no one can hear you. I'll sing a line and then I'll sing it again. And so you'll be singing it, you'll be listening to it once and then singing it with me the second time. And we'll just keep going like that. And this song is called Light It Up to Live. And it is, I believe, and I think it came to me as a song that was written by a group of teenagers that did a little mini quest at one of the Eight Shields gatherings, at one of the Art of Mentoring camps. So, since that question came, Shuna, I just thought would be something that was nice. And Light It Up to Live is obviously speaking to the fire within. So, excuse me. It goes something, maybe I'll sing it through once first and then I'll break it down. So it goes like this. Light it up to live, tend it well and it will always be there. We've got to light it up to live, tend it well and it will always be there inside of me. We've got and I'll do the line. When I do this, I'll sing. When I do this, it's for you to sing. Light it up to live, tend it well, and it will always be there. We've got to light it up to live. Tend it well, and it will always be there. We've got to light it up to live. Tend it well and it will always be there. We've got to light it up to live. Tend it well and it will always be there inside of me. And it will always be there inside of me. Can we do it together? Let's try. So we've got to light it up to live, tend it well, and it will always be there. We do it through twice, and then it goes, and it will always be there inside of me. We've got to light it up to live, tend it well, and it will always be there. We've got to light it up to live. Tend it well and it will always be there. We've got to light it up to live. Tend it well and it will always be there inside of me. We've got to light it up to live. Tend it well and it will always be there. We've got to light it up to live. Tend it well and it will always be there. We've gotta light it up to live. Tend it well and it will always be there inside of you. Oh, I haven't heard that song for a long time, actually. I'm really glad that that came through. You sing and share with you all. It's an interesting experience singing on Zoom. So we have, I think, and I always sing because I'm hearing myself. Um, yeah, I always sing. Well, Looby and I both love singing and songs, and it's something that it does bring unity whenever, whether we think we have good singing voices or not. And I was terrified of singing only maybe 6 years ago. And a song came through when I did a vision quest. And when you get something through from a vision quest, you have to share it. It isn't something that is yours to keep. And so the singing of that song had me singing to a whole group. And from there on in, I just started singing and sharing singing training and collecting songs. And it became something that, yeah, that is a passion of mine now and something we definitely explore the passion and edges of it whenever we're together in person. So, yeah, thanks for joining me in that.
Yeah, wonderful. I've just switched to my phone because my battery ran out. So yeah, backup resources. But oh yeah, great song. Yeah, I really look forward to singing that with everyone and around the fire with you, Leona. And yeah, it's really beautiful song. And I agree that sort of the nerves of singing, I had that, but just how liberating it can be. So that is part of the gift of the Peace Course as well, is like breaking through the resistance of singing together and finding our voices, literally, that then helps us find our voices out into the world.
Mm.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. We are coming to the end of our time together here, but do stay in contact with us all, and we'd love to hear in the chat, like one thing you're taking away from this session, one thing you like an aha moment, or just a moment of inspiration, or something you're going to um follow up with. Yeah, so we could, you could put it in the chat, but maybe you could also hear a few voices as well. Maybe Leona, you can see people. I can't
I can. Andrea's there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's really nice to talk to people who've been through that thought process and are really feeling so positive about implementing the change and supporting change, because a lot of people, you know, are looking for a way to produce change, but aren't necessarily sure about how we're going to do it. So it's a really nice thing to listen to and is really inspiring.
Hmm. Thank you, Andrea. Yes. Yeah, it definitely, emergence happens in relationship. It's, just the sense of being not alone can be so empowering when we go on to be in our own lives, and knowing that we're not the only ones that think like this and that there are things happening, I think is really things happening all over. In fact, that's one of the exciting things about this community, I suppose, is that we get to hear a little bit of all the different things that people are doing in their own respective places, and then we come together and share that. So yeah, thank you for that sharing. Anybody else like to share? Anybody else have a reflection? I can see that. Oh, Chelsea, thank you. Loved that so much, Sam. That was lovely. Maybe that's about the singing. Shuna's saying, I'd love to come, just not sure if I can travel and get that far. You're quite up in the north, aren't you, Shuna? In Scotland, way up there.
Yeah, Glasgow. Yeah, so I was looking at a map and I was like, whoa, that is quite far.
By train, it's actually quite doable because actually the Jenny's who I've just read, she's also in Glasgow and she came last year, so train is a bit more doable. But I think then
Okay.
yeah.
I will have a look. I definitely will have a look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I mean, I know that people have limits of time or money or travel or can I get a camp? We have some indoor spaces. We have tents available for people to borrow. So if you're feeling the call, get in contact with us and maybe we can work through some limits together and find ways through. Yeah. So Priscilla's takeaway: conscious participation. From Amanda, weaving unity, finding things to be grateful for every day and sing more. Yay. From Sam, thank you so much. It's been so lovely to connect with you all. I'm taking away how important it is to have spaces like this. Absolutely. Yeah, it really, I really appreciate all of you being here and just being part of that space creation because you're right, Sam, it is so important to have spaces like this and for an hour and a half to feel connected with other people. I hope that you can sense in yourself the difference from when you arrive to when you're leaving and that heart opening and the connection, the hope that is there as well. Yeah, so there's many ways to connect with us online and as well as in person. Obviously, in person has beautiful qualities, and also online is beautiful as well. That we have this global participation. So yeah, there's ways to connect with us in many different ways, and through books and cards and podcasts as well. So it's been really lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, well, my takeaway is again about visioning, one of the practice cards, dreaming big and allowing ourselves to dwell in long distance timeframes and asking yourself what you would like to happen, not what you think is possible, and articulating that vision to others, it says. But for me, that's really about interacting with the universe, actually putting things out there. When we want something to happen, go and make an offering to the land or speak it in your gratitude, and be in the mindset of possibility and openness to the support that can come through from the other than human world, and seeing ourselves as that interconnected web of creation, I just think is so much less lonely than whenever we are all in our respective places feeling like we're just this one human, because we never are. And actually, let's just dream big. It's so lovely to see all of you, and thank you for giving, for showing up to something that caught your curiosity. You didn't have to. You didn't have to sign up to this call. You didn't have to show up and really give that attention to something. But this is, energy flows where attention goes, and that's what we're doing here. We're choosing to feed ourselves with that co-created support. And even though we've talked about a lot about the peace in-person course, it's really about us bringing consciousness and um, and and wise wording and pattern disruption and all of these practices that are there in the toolkit of cultural emergence that give us this way forward. So thank you all. And with that, I had to. I'm gonna.
Yeah,
I'm going to
thank
say
you to
thank
the
you.
fire.
Thank you to
Thank
the
you.
fire. Thank you to all of you, and and thank you to all of life.
Yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you, Leona. Thank you, Emma, for putting lots of links in the chat there as well for us in recording. And thank you to everyone that's been watching the recording as well as people that have been here. And just stay connected and see what opportunities match your availabilities as well. And so there's many ways to stay connected here and go and give some gratitude to the more than human world for being here as well, to all the house martins that have been around us. So farewell everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.